We are the people! We are the people! We are the people!
If you want to rattle a snake, you must be prepared to be bitten by it.
Did you really bring your mind to bear? Did you really focus and understand what you were doing? So that when you made the decision, you were convinced, whether wrong or right, you were convinced that you understood the situation.
Intolerance. We are brewing intolerance. Ukisikia mtu hataki kusikia upinzani wa chochote, hiyo si nzuri. Hata soka haiwezi chezwa kama timu sio mbili.
We call upon every Kenyan to be tolerant. Democracy cannot operate unless we are tolerant. You tolerate your friend, your neighbor, to have an opinion different from yours.
Proactive. Welcome back, guys. It's been a while. Well, it hasn't been a while. I like saying it's been a while. I've noticed it's my caption, I hope you're doing good. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks or so. Kinda.
Yeah.
I think the fortnight thing in a work for us, right?
Fortnight, really?
Should we go back to a weekly episode?
Anyway.
Yeah, you let us know, guys. We think, we have to think this one through because of you. Like, what really works? You just let us know. Is it doing the show and updating you what has happened over the fortnight, or you still want a weekly one? But anyway, yeah. How you doing, Elsie?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Leo at least nimesikia uko na complaints. Ati KSL mnapelekwa marathon aje? What's happening?
Sasa KSL is admitting students right now, and I'm supposed to be one of those students. But things are kind of complicated for us who have not graduated. And of course, because of COVID-19, a lot of things delayed in companies, but schools and colleges and universities were not left behind. KCSE delayed, KCP delayed. I mean, they did the exams just a month ago, which was of course the first time. It was a unique time, yeah, because they should have done the exams in November and in December. And so even for us, we should have graduated by December last year. And so I haven't graduated. I'm waiting to graduate in July. So meanwhile, I don't have my final transcript. KSL needs us to have the final transcript. Yeah, final transcript. So it's just crazy. And
so shida ni KSL ama shida ni
shida si KU. Shida ni KSL should really understand that we could not graduate due to unavoidable circumstances. However, we will present those transcripts as soon as we graduate in July.
Okay.
Because by exams, pia zitafanywa next year.
Are the results out? Oh, exams
No. Actually, by exams were postponed. The class that should have done by exams last week, by exams were postponed by CLE. The exams nayo si ya KSL, ni ya Council of Legal Education.
Yes, I heard whatever was going on with the Council of Legal Education.
Yeah, even them, there was some sort of uproar even on social media because they were taking too long to communicate whether there will be by exams, the venue for by exams, the fate of students who are outside the lockdown areas.
Hata watu wa CPA wana complain, nasikia kasne bili wacheza. Walidhani watafanya na hawakufanya.
Things are crazy. This COVID-19 should just come to an end. By the way, we need to move on with our lives.
Well, I mean, that just preempts what the show is looking like today, COVID is crazy and we know what's been going on.
But we thank God the situation is not as bad as the situation in India.
That's the thing. It's crazy. India is bad.
India is terrible. I'm told that now it ranks as the most affected country, number 1 or number 2. I'm told the situation is worse than Italy. Italy is what really shook the conscience of the world and, made the countries like Kenya realize that this COVID thing is real and we should not just joke around with it and imagine that we are immune to it.
What's happening is India is big.
Yeah. India has the best health facilities. I mean,
we go there for it,
Yeah.
But what's been happening is that New Delhi is the one that is heavily hit.
The capital city.
The capital now.
Yeah.
But the rest of the places have it contained. And it's just that there's a spike in death. But then the controversy comes because the leaders also there are not that really... are not being held accountable because they're still continuing with rallies and so and they're factoring in, you're looking at deaths only, but you're not looking at deaths as per the population, as the biggest fight that they have, and other cities are not having it as how New Delhi is having it. That's the biggest problem. My concern, though, is with all these things that we are seeing in our country, there's still flights coming in from India.
From
day.
India. I am aware about flights from Ukraine, tourist flights from Ukraine
Been several
have been
flights
landing.
from Mumbai.
Oh.
Even one landed today at 5.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. And the other thing I saw on social media is that rich Indians are fleeing from
Yes.
COVID-19.
Yes, they are.
I think private jets are on demand in India because the rich ones are fleeing away from the situation. So I wonder whether these rich ones are politicians.
So
be.
almost close to, or maybe even more than 5 flights from Mumbai to Nairobi have been going down. But our leaders, the best thing they see that they can discuss right now
Is the BBI?
is the
reggae.
BBI.
Reggae. Okay, we thought that reggae had stopped, but it seems like
Reggae
it hasn't
is in
really
shambles.
stopped. Is it?
13 counties passed something different.
Is it really true that they passed something different? I thought we discussed the process. I think in the took episode gani by the way.
By the way, you are
I think the
tumefika 20. Tumefika 20.
so maybe episode 18, I think either 18 or episode 17,
One
we
of them,
discussed the process of amending the constitution, and basically we discussed about the process that BBI is going through and why it's going through the process. That is a popular initiative and how it involves the county governments and the
government.
national government. And so right now it is at that stage whereby it is being discussed in parliament. Yeah.
So Chebukati
but then even before that,
asked for documents to
yeah.
be printed.
And then it is the
Sent out
documents that
to-
were shared with IBC are the very documents that now IBC should have shared with the
sure.
county governments. And the documents should be the same. But I'm told that there's a county assembly that passed the bombers draft. And
There's
I'm
a county
like,
assembly that passed the bombers draft.
Bomber-
People have even said TJRC commission report.
what?
All kinds of manners. And Chebukati comes back and says, look, I am not the one who printed them. I asked the ones who are pushing to give me 50 copies.
Oh.
And then once
But
they gave me
no.
the copies, I pushed them to the
Chebukati
council.
should have played the role of ensuring that the documents are the same, or at least receiving one copy and photocopying, making copies. I mean, that's why the commission is
So
there's
he,
IBC, and distributing those copies from the copy he received. I mean, really, that's not being competent.
So-
But even worse, our elected leaders, our elected MCAs, Kwani, did they just sit there and just pass it for the sake of passing? Didn't they take time to read? Didn't they take time to debate on clauses of
Why
the,
am
whatever
I-
document
why
they
am
were
I debating
reading?
something if I've been
Yeah.
given a car grant worth 2 million?
Because you're there to represent the views of your people.
Am I though? Did the people really put me there? Big questions.
Yeah,
that people need to ask
MCA.
themselves.
See, we're the ones
You
that, I mean, MCAs are the closest leaders. Like, I think
Elsie, I'm saying
Yahweh
that
likes
because-
to tell us.
I'm saying that because 2022 is coming. And even if we talk about the previous election in 2017, if I ask you who was your MCA, you just know it's someone who was there.
I honestly don't even know who my MCA
That's the
is
biggest
right
problem.
now.
And now you expect it for them to be very accountable to pass something in the right manner when we don't even know who they are, how they look like. Do you know installing these solar panels, you're being asked for a whole degree with experience and a lot of other things that are being asked there in terms of license. But for an MCA, you just need to finish Form 4.
Yeah. I mean,
And you are the one going to pass
the
legislation.
the BBI initially proposed that MCAs should be graduates, but that proposal failed. I think the MCAs were really against it, and so the condition that the MCAs gave, because I mean it was definite that this BBI would have to pass through county assemblies, that they would only pass it if that clause, if the drafters of the BBI will do away with that clause that requires MCAs to have degrees.
Now, do I have
Now-
now you see the issue now why I
Yeah.
would bring this matter into, because you're taking people who haven't really worked on policy making and legal processes. They go in there, they look at a whole big book, they don't want to read through it, they've been promised 2 million. What do I do?
Yeah, that's
Because
the situation.
I know I had to advance my studying skills once I moved from high school into a technical school, into a college, into a degree, and I had to work extra. I remember when I was doing project management, like one of the things that really affected me most, but I really passed, was business law. And one of the places that I know was tough for me was the law of thoughts, because that one is a whole 5-6 volumes of things that you have to study on and understand it. Well, you might not grasp every single clause that comes in there, but at least understanding what thoughts. And I know for you as a lawyer now, it's even worse now. I mean, other than just having it in your arms, you have to specialize on a specific area that you will cover, and still it will be a daunting task.
Yeah, of course, it's never a walk in the park.
Then we put people like this. I'm not trying to say that I disqualify the rest who are there, but then again, they have to advance their skills. If you're not gonna, if you're gonna allow them to pass through that specific place and say, okay, fine, Form 4 is enough, but there are other places that you have to cover. You need to study a bit on policy making. You need to study on these things, on leadership and governance. We need to have a constant way that we are empowering this person, that by the time the 5 years are done, he understands how much he needs to do, and even within a year he needs to understand all that. Are we the ones to do it? They need to take themselves, if they are coming to represent us, that they have to go through this government school and leadership and governance, if at all you want to vie for any seat. I think that would be the only way to make sense, to allow that such a clause to be, on a constant hapa tukibembelezwa hivi to
yeah, but I think is there anything we can do about it at this point?
People, choose your leaders wisely.
Public participation, did anyone challenge this when he or she was taking part in the public participation forums? And that question goes to you, our listeners. If you are part of a public participation forum, did you question that? Did you try to pursue that? Did you try to even push for education? Because I feel like education empowers, education enables, it's an enabler. It teaches one how to think. I mean, there are people who can think for sure without necessarily going through education. We've seen them. But for some reason, education also teaches you how to reason, how to even get to understand your role. So, and education is important. And yes, MCAs are educated. I mean, 844, that's education. But
you need to advance it.
Tertiary education is good nonetheless.
I mean, you might be a doctor, but leadership and governance. That's why I'm saying, if it needs to be a specialized one, go to the specialized level and learn from what we are doing here if you're going to represent us. Because at the end of the day, we need you to understand why you're representing us.
Yes.
In the process, we also saw some leaders come out and say, they've been chasing power so much.
Oh yeah, COVID-19. COVID-19 that has shaken the world and has shaken many people, many Kenyans. The third wave hit us really badly. It got to a point whereby pretty much everyone knew someone who had died of COVID-19. Then 2 leaders came out, I think over the weekend or at some point last week, Kiraitu Murungi and Moswako, and they were just talking about how COVID-19 in a way taught them that there's more to life than politics. There's more to life than chasing victory and wins. And they even revealed, I mean, I was not able to read the articles, but I actually read a paragraph or 2 from Kiraitu's story, and he was talking about how he witnessed Baba Raila Odinga being dragged from his home, from his bed, to go and attend a rally. Is it to attend a rally? Either to attend a rally or to open some place together with the president, just to show that the BBI is intact, just to show that the handshake is still working, the handshake is still alive. And basically what
that they were opening the other day.
It was a road, because I think Kajiado. Was it Kajiado?
I think I don't know how it's supposed to connect, but that's besides the point,
So I think what they were just telling us is there's more to life than politics.
An article like that comes and tells you, stop chasing this power, let's focus first on this thing because it's draining us. But the rest of the people are still focusing on power with a referendum.
Power, millions, lack of accountability in the use of funds, the COVID funds.
It's a tough one, man.
It's tough, It's difficult, it's complicated.
Yeah, but that's really what's happening. People, when we come and tell you, man, figure out who you're choosing as your leader. Now you see the ripple effect. We're not here to say to discredit national level. We're saying national level fine is good, but you need to think through what you're doing at the county also.
Yeah.
The MCAs again, after NMS comes into Nairobi, they've slashed the NMS budget by 5.92 billion. They've awarded themselves 2 billion.
Oh. And why have they done that?
Because they can.
Okay, of course they can, but why will they slash the NMS budget? I think NMS is doing a good job so far, so good.
Who said
I
it
have
was
seen
even was
I
it
have
even
seen their
NMS's
plans.
work to do whatever the work they're doing.
No, it's complicated. The issue of NMS and how NMS came to be and how
It's another
Sonko
process in
is no
itself.
longer our governor,
Exactly.
you know, how we even now have an acting governor, stroke deputy governor in place, yet we still have NMS performing the roles that the county government is supposed to perform in accordance with the 4th schedule of the constitution.
And the position
It's
was
still
advertised.
questionable.
Vacancy position was
But,
advertised.
you know, these are unique times, and forget even COVID, but these are really unique times in Kenya because we really live as if there's no law. Yes, we disregard the rule of law, one of the national values and principles of governance, and no one demands for accountability. And as much as some of our politicians, some of our parliamentarians will complain, they will complain and then they will keep quiet and they will move on. And as we're living right now, I don't think I've had anyone complaining about NMS. I think we just accepted that, hey, the government has imposed NMS on us. We move.
If you know
We
Okiya
move.
Mtata and you're part of this family that is proactive, holla at your boy.
Because, you know, I feel like trying to fight NMS at this point is just fighting a losing battle.
For sure, but it's
The Jubilee government is criticized every day as being a government that disregards the rule of law in every way, including in even the appointment of the panel that will be interviewing the applicants for the IBC.
Yeah.
You know, really, Jubilee, what's happening?
Your Law Society president, embattled president, but still president, is very angry with the process in terms of JSC, and though I really wanted to, I really applauded Martha Koome for coming for a second round, and she gets it, you know.
Did you watch her interview?
You know me, I'm working with highlights from interviews, and when I feel like there's something that has been misquoted, that's when I go and check and figure out what really was said.
Okay.
I didn't get to see her full interview, but I know people had issues with something that she did during
a while back
a while
during
back,
the
election period.
26th of October.
Yeah, so
It is alleged that she held a court sitting
in the middle of the
late
night.
at night. It was a special sitting. I think it was a three bench meaning it was her plus two other judges. And I think it was a dispute regarding the elections. And they actually gave a decision that night. And all that happened without a go-ahead from the Chief Justice, because the go-ahead to hold court sessions outside the normal time should the directive should come from the sitting Chief Justice. So apparently it was done without the consent of the Chief Justice. And it is, I even read an article that says that even up to now, the decision that they made back then during that night is not even reported on Kenya Law Reports as it should be reported. But I'm not sure. This is just something that I've read.
So
on
this was
social
someone
media.
who was contentious. And then maybe the other question that I need to understand, and maybe you can help other people understand, is I think she has a year left.
Yes. Apparently she is 69 years old. Is she really 69 years old?
Oh, shocking for me. I didn't even
She
know
was
that
born in 1960. 1960, how old is that? Is someone
Is the wrong person, bana.
kwani hauna
Kwani nakaa kama
calculator?
mtu wa 1960. Why are you like this?
Sasa sini hiyo ni
Why are you
maths
choosing
tu.
violence?
Sini maths tu manzi. Because nimeona kwengine wanasema she's 61.
Really? Guys, if you see this awkward silences going on, we are trying to figure out her age. Don't even be shocked.
She's 61.
All right.
She's 61. By the that, okay, one thing's for sure, we can celebrate that there's a chance that we might be getting a lady Chief Justice. I don't know why people are celebrating as if it's a done deal. Oh my, it's not a done
don't
deal.
know
My
why,
fellow
but then,
Kenyans, this
because
is not a done
Parliament
deal.
hasn't even-
Yeah, it has to go through Parliament.
look at our
Then it has
leaders.
to go to our president for his approval, for him
Look,
to appoint.
let me tell
It is
you.
going to a president who is yet to appoint 40
Elsie-
judges based on the recommendation of JSC. So he will appoint a chief justice
Because
and
the
he's still
other
sitting on the
14
list of the other.
You know the process with the other 14, Elsie, and he was against it to some extent because he knew it would affect him in terms of the executive. But this specific one is being pushed because it's an agenda.
No. That's just a conspiracy.
I like conspiracies to some extent, but when they start coming to realization, I'm worried. That's the problem.
No, I don't believe in that
Conspiracy is
conspiracy.
a conspiracy, but
I
until
don't
it comes
believe.
to a realization.
I mean, before what were Kenyans saying that Ngatia was gonna get this?
No.
Where's Ngatia?
No. It wasn't about Ngatia. And we were clear about it at that time. And you said, stop discrediting past someone
Yes.
based on tribe.
Yes.
Let it be merit.
Yes.
Ngatia was being pressed hard because we saw his he represented somewhat Jubilee government at some point. And we saw it before again.
I think he's represented Jubilee twice.
Yeah,
or even
twice.
thrice.
And then they touched on tribe at that point. And that's why Ngatia was contentious because it was just coming from the limelight. But now we're seeing, I mean, I've listened to, and I don't, fine, conspiracies at times, let's leave them to be conspiracies. But when you see Harvey and you see Itumbi, and they say some things and you're like, you're always blowing things out of proportion. And then they start coming to realization, there's more to a story.
But
Why did it become, look, and one thing I agree from an interview he did yesterday. Yes, I think it was yesterday. At what point ever does a commission come to a unanimous agreement?
Unanimous. All the representatives. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense because they're still human. They still have their personal preferences.
JSC
and what
announces.
appeals to one may not appeal to the other. So you might find, for example, Murgo's brilliance and transcripts may appeal to one.
Exactly.
And to someone else might be impressed by someone who's very honest in his or her wealth declaration. You notice there was one commissioner who was always asking questions about wealth declaration. And apparently, by the way, even the lady chief, the incoming lady chief justice, if at all she's approved, apparently she did not even declare her husband's wealth, and she just said that she had forgotten. She did not, and it was required that you also declare your spouse's wealth.
And then we come and get to a unanimous agreement.
So it does not make sense.
Unanimous.
Apana. That doesn't make, and that is why it
That
is
whole
a
interview
panel of
Jana.
different people.
Elsie, the whole
More than
interview Jana
5
Harvey
people.
was making that point clear, but that the JSC got to nominate the incoming, if at all she'll enter, Martha Koome, from a unanimous point. And he was asking, ulisikia wapi?
Wow.
Tough questions that we have to ask. Now, I appreciate that you have also pointed out to the listener that there's a process that has to happen, first to Parliament and then to the President before it is approved. We wait and see. If we have issues with what has happened so far, we go back to our members of Parliament, the people that we don't even know, and tell them, hey,
wako busy na BBI sai. Even as you're speaking, they're probably seated in Parliament.
still
They were
debating
to
it
go on
now.
Wednesday and on
It
Thursday.
is
I think
happening
Senate
today.
was Wednesday,
It's
Parliament,
ongoing.
National
It's
Assembly.
ongoing.
But even before we go back to BBI, what do you think of what Kenyans are talking about right now? That apparently the JSC nominee, graduated with a pass in when she was a student at the University of Nairobi. Do grades really matter? Do you think she's not competent enough to be Chief Justice merely because she graduated with a pass and she was competing for this position for Chief Justice with other brilliant minds like Murgar?
For me,
and I don't even know about the others.
for me, I would say
Alice,
this. A pass is a pass. You've passed.
first class upper, first class second upper,
Depending on
second lower.
what I judge you on is not the merits of whether you passed or not. It's in your
Experience.
The experience that you have.
And she's got
The
experience.
experience that you've had.
Yeah.
And that's why for me, her finding herself in a position to interview a second time shows the much confidence she has.
Yeah.
And that's why I was very...
And she's actually a celebrated judge.
She is.
This lady, she was given the award for UN Person of the Year, I think.
At some point, yeah?
Yeah, last year. It's either she was, I think she was a runners
Our only
up.
contention is, and that's why, for now, listeners, I agree. Mine is a conspiracy. Don't even, if we don't research on it, don't approve it. But it's a conspiracy for me that is coming into realization, and I'm worried about it. Because if the executive is trying to pull some strings so that it can
JSC
have...
is an independent commission.
Should be an independent commission.
It is an
but
independent
commission.
When
they give unanimous
we cannot
recommendations,
prove the involvement of the judiciary in the decision made by JSC that is that comprises of representatives from different institutions. A representative from the Law Society of Kenya, from the Court of Appeal, from Kenya Judges and Magistrates Association.
Secondly, why are they hiding the marks as awarded?
Really, I don't think it's wise for them to publish the marks.
I feel like they should.
Think of this as the person who is being interviewed. If ILC had applied to be Chief Justice and I did not make it to be nominated, I still would not want the Kenyans to know how the panel, graded me, because that is something that you'll have to live with forever, knowing that you are at the bottom of the list of all the 10 applicants. You are the last.
Grading and evaluation was not meant to show you where you stand in the table. It was meant to show you your strengths and your weaknesses so that you can work on your weaknesses.
Because the next thing they'll be doing, they'll be crying, 2 marks were deducted just because I did not declare my well.
Kwa lecturer tunamwambia, remark hii kitu ama tuchukue receipt ama tufanye supplement. There's a reason as to why, to ensure that you know your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, if they cannot be made public for us and even to understand, now we can't even know in terms of who was viable, who was stronger for us, who was weaker for us.
But you see, what's likely to happen is if they were to publish the list, you'll find that their favorite candidates are not necessarily the Kenyans' favorite candidates. I can see by there on social media, people are calling Justice D.K. Marete the People's Chief Justice. So it seems that he really impressed the people, but you'll find that probably he did not impress JSC.
And we want to know from the JSC and their scorecard.
It's going to cause chaos. People are going to...
The scorecard, LC, is not for us to figure out who was the best and who was the worst. It's to figure out what is your strength, what is your weaknesses. Out of them all, they might even have Murgor as number 1 and Kome is probably in the middle of the table. But because of some strengths that she has that Murgor didn't have at that time, the JSC found it viable to put Kome over Murgor. That's what I'm saying. It's not for them to say, just because Murgor was number 1 should be awarded something every time. And that's been the failure of the system.
Now that makes sense.
It shouldn't be
that
for
makes
ranking.
sense.
It should be
And
for
so they should give
evaluation.
us reasons why has been chosen, despite not even being number 1 or number 2.
Exactly. That is it. And you can choose different ways of doing it. It can be pointers that you can use. You can stop doing an overall one and show from a scale and show us from this point to this point, this had some certain points, but when it came to this other thing, this one had certain points. There's no overall tally. It doesn't have to be an overall tally.
Yeah.
We have to focus on some things so we understand why they're doing it. They come back out of it and they give us an announcement that it's unanimous. Surely. On what grounds? At what point did they get to that point and said, hey, by the way, tumekaa tukaangalia tukaona yenyewe si wote tumekubaliana na Kenya amesema. Otherwise, me, my candidate, I was vying for her because I found strength and I found courage in her doing it for a second time.
And that's why you thought she would. Do you think that it's about time Kenya gets a female Chief Justice to serve alongside a female Deputy Chief Justice and alongside a female Chief Registrar and the Principal Judge of the High Court is also female. The future of the judiciary is female.
But why are we looking for balance from a top position And not really
it's
balance
not really
down
about
all.
balance. Trust me. I do not think Martha Kome's appointment or rather nomination is anything to do with gender balance.
doesn't
Because if
have
it was
any-
all about gender balance, they would have put a man there because Mwilu is still there to stay.
For sure.
And Mwilu is DCJ.
And I agree.
Yeah.
And I said for sure, for me, Matakome is not based on
Yeah,
gender.
I don't think
But
it's based on
listen,
that.
Chief Justice,
But-
female. Deputy Chief Justice, female. Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, female. Registrar of Supreme Court, female. Acting President of the Court of Appeal, female. Principal
Yeah.
Judge High Court, female. Principal Judge Employment Court, female.
Yeah.
Registrar of the High Court, female. President Judges and Magistrate Association, female. Majority of magistrates right now, female. Majority of LSK Council members, female.
In fact, for LSK, we even need a female president. But
If this same post that I've read for you had a man on it, you know the uproar that would be here. My question is, what
for a
what
long
balance?
time, like I like to say when I'm writing my papers, women were disenfranchised. Historically wise, we were disenfranchised. We missed out on this position simply because we were women. And
Fine.
now the time has come.
The-
We are actually earning these positions. We are performing. We're
By the way,
delivering.
based on merit, you guys are
Based-
on top.
Yes. So
thing
it
I
is
am
up to
saying-
the boy child
Now,
to step up their
That's
game.
the thing that when we were on top, you cried foul and said we want to be there too.
Yes.
And we made it happen.
Uh-huh.
But now that it's reversing, now it's not making it happen, it's us to step up. Now you have all this firepower. I hope by the time their terms are over, 2/3 gender rule
The 2/3 gender rule, I think, has
can
failed.
be pushed.
No. I think Bibe is even doing away with it, Ama. Is
That's
it?
the biggest problem I have.
Because
now.
implementing it is difficult.
So it
Again,
was a dominance in
our dear
senior
listeners,
position.
we've had this discussion. I think the between episodes 10 to maybe
Somewhere around there.
15, we
when
might have
Maraga
discussed.
announced that parliament should be dissolved.
Yes, and we talked about how difficult it is because you see, we elect our leaders, and we cannot force Nyeri County to elect female
But it
leaders.
doesn't have to be just in the seats. And that's why I'm saying, is it only in senior positions? That's my biggest fight that I have. And that's why I'm saying the judiciary now has firepower to make sure that it pushes the legislature and the executive to ensure that the 2/3 gender rule is being applied across all borders.
Not just
Not
for
senior
parliament.
positions only. And when
and the
things that happen
executive.
in top positions where it's dominance over balance,
Dominance over balance.
there's a problem. You've been disenfranchised for a long time. Now
Yes,
that you
and
are
it's
there,
about time.
It's about
It's
time
about
you get
time.
representation. But
Exactly.
representation, does it come with dominance now?
No.
Repeat the same mistakes we did last time?
It's not about dominance. We do not want a time to come whereby now again the men start complaining that, once upon a time.
Perfect.
Once
exactly.
upon a time.
Yes.
We took
Yeah.
the position of the women and the women took our
And our
position. And
role-
now our time is coming for. We cannot live like that, always competing one gender over the
I
other
think it's even
gender.
tough.
We just have to work together. And I think the Supreme Court did a pretty good job with Justice Maraga and of course Njokindungu and DCJ Mwilu. 2 females, 5 males, 5 males. So anyway, I don't see the harm
We
in.
need even to push it more because I feel like there's more to be done because ladies have, they are more than us in terms of gender. It's just a matter of sensitization, educating them, telling them that the power is yours. This whole idea of making it look like the men should be in dominance is not the right way, but the balance should be such that we have, it might not fully be actualized, but it needs to make it to a point where it's sensible enough, because if it's on merit, yes, it's on merit, but also we can make sure that there's also representation from both sides, because I don't see at a point where if we just decide merits alafu tuseme wanaume wote ndio wako na madistinction, ladies ndio wamekuja na second upper, so tutaenda na merit ya distinction. It won't work that way.
Yeah.
They still both have the experience enough and they can fully represent both sides of the gender. That is my biggest point for.
I think what needs to happen now as Kenyans is that this conversation about gender equality, anytime this word gender equality comes up, people think about the females. In fact, I believe No. The SDG 5, the Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 5 is on gender equality, and if you're to read on the indicators for these SDGs and I think the indicators and I've forgotten. It's mostly all about women. Empower the woman, ensure women are paid equally to the, as men, that they get equal payment as men for the same job. And it's just all about the woman. How about now we, change this narrative of gender equality and make it all about the female working together with the male.
Yeah,
the female being at par with the male. Can we just change this narrative? Because the word gender equality, when you think about gender equality, trust me, everyone thinks about the woman.
Yeah.
Because of history.
Yeah.
Because of history.
And it's about and it's equality. It's not then again once one has done this thing, now we change it to dominance again. That's my biggest. But all in all, I feel good. That's a big win for
ladies.
For
yeah.
Sure. And I believe that.
And of course, she was not chosen because she was female.
Yeah.
We had Professor Kamiri Mbote over there.
Yes.
We had Miss Alice Yano Jepkoech over there. Did you have another female? It was just the three of them.
I think it was. I didn't follow up. I felt bad that your lecturer decided not to apply.
Which lecturer? Oh, no. She's into other things.
Sadly, yeah.
No, you just follow your heart. In this life, just follow your heart, and you'll be happy.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we are happy for her. We know she was chosen because of merit, because of her. Forget even the grade she scored back in University of Nairobi, when she was just an undergraduate student. We know she is there because of her experience. She is there because of her performance ever since she joined the judiciary, of her exemplary performance as a court of appeal judge.
No one is fighting that.
Yes.
No one is fighting
exactly.
that.
Exactly. So merit.
And I don't
merit.
expect someone to stand there and be clean and spotless. That one, I don't agree with. You must show me that you also have flaws in your life.
Yeah.
And one of those ones that was questionable was that one. And that's the strongest point that people want to use as a bone of contention with it. But that's a good way we've covered, today. We've seen there's much more that needs to be done. I hope that with these conversations that we have, 2022, Manze, you need to think about who you're putting in office. 2022,
we will always remind you, dear listeners, seriously.
KEMSA.
The ballot, that is where you can fight for yourself.
That
is where you can change your story.
Stop with the finishing statement. You want to finish the episode. I can see you.
No. We haven't even discussed the whole controversy with BBI and JLAC.
We can't even discuss it. We've gone overtime with the JSC and the process. Maybe we can do another episode.
We can discuss it after Parliament has concluded.
Yes.
But I think it's important that we just mention that the controversy. We have our MPs, especially. JLAC, that is the Joint Legal Affairs Committee. It is a joint committee, the Legal Affairs Committee from the Senate and the Legal Affairs Committee from the National Assembly. Of course, you can imagine the people who comprise JLAC are advocates. And of course, members of parliament who are very learned in the law. So you find, people like Senator James Orengo or the MP, the Rareda MP, Otienda Amolo. I think there's someone else called, is it Omugeni? Or Okongo. So I read other names. I don't know the others. I just know these ones. And they are against the BBI because now what people are wondering, the whole controversies are all about whether they should accept BBI as it is or whether they are allowed to make amendments on the BBI. Again, dear listeners, we discussed the process that the BBI is going through, and I do not remember mentioning that that Parliament is allowed to amend.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they have no choice but to take. If you ask me, they have to take it as it is. And what makes
Because
this
their
thing funny
processes
is
in
because
terms of
these
the
are people
executive.
who are close allies of one of the principles of the BBI, the handshake. These are close allies of Raila Odinga. That is no secret.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been there all along. You'll find that they were even the first people to append their signatures when signatures were being collected. Remember when signature collection was even an event, when they were launching it at
it
TCG,
was a
you
whole
can
part.
sign online. These are people, you'll find they were the first people to append their signatures. And now in their capacity as parliamentarians, they're like, we will not pass this thing. I think they're against the provision for increase in the number of constituencies to 70. I think there's an increase of, the BBI seeks to increase constituencies, the number of constituencies by 70. And I think they're against this. But where were you when public participation was going on? Where were you when MCAs complained and they did away with the clause on the requirement that they have degrees? They should have raised this long ago. But then they wanted to look like we are with Baba, we
All
are
the
with the
way,
system.
you know.
But then now that it's in parliament, they are
Nobody can
challenging it.
stop reggae.
But anyway, nonetheless, I think what they're doing is good because they are doing. I feel like, of course, it's not in the best interest of Kenyans to have more constituencies
Imagine
and any
that time when
other
they are appending their signatures. And now I was reading how Wetangula is now asking for 3 hours to read the whole thing.
Oh wow!
3 hours to read
And
the
they
whole
and they
damn
and
thing.
they appended their signatures
All
to
this time
approve.
They've been having it with them, but now they're asking for 3 hours.
Kenyans,
Yeah.
see your leaders.
During the debate today, Wetangula, hi, how you doing? 3 hours, eh?
Yeah.
After all those months that we've had reggae, 3 hours is enough for you to read the document now.
Yeah. Anyway, dear listeners, we'll expound more on this in the next episode. For now, let's allow this. This is a matter that is still alive before the floors of Parliament.
Happening today, by the way.
Yeah, as we speak, just
Yeah.
a few meters, a few blocks away from where we are.
Let's touch on a few things. Wacha kututangaza. Tukikujiwa
Hawatajua.
hapa wewe. Tukikujiwa. Let's touch on a few things. Governors are being grilled now on COVID funds.
Yeah, I saw on news that Busia county government spent 11, is it million or billion, without a plan.
Without a
They
plan.
cannot account. Is it that
For
they
it.
cannot account for
Yes.
it? Wow.
Nyong'o
11
is
billion
being-
is a lot of money. Busia
Nyong'o is being
people.
summoned also.
Uh-huh.
Has some few explanations to do, but I don't know how it will go. Maybe he'll make some clarity. Chairman Jubilee Morathe was appending becoming signatories to companies that had just been opened and getting into
Thank
the Kemsa
you.
scandal.
Now we can see deep state involvement
You know.
in the COVID scandal.
No, they can't.
So don't pretend to be blind, dear listener.
Kemsa
2022 is
again
coming.
Is playing with our heads. We are calling their bluff. Embassy says that the ARVs are still with USAID. They haven't been released. Kemsa was flagging off empty lorries
Wow.
for ARVs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are we fools? Kenyans, are we fools?
So we like that hype.
To that relative, is that relative of yours or you who is HIV positive? Are you a fool? Why are they treating us like children, like
But in
young kids?
si tumezoea hype ya TV.
No, let me not even say ni hype. Tulijiweka hapo.
Kemsa called
We
the
made
media.
our bed. We must lie on our beds.
For sure. Funny clip we were
Tupatane
watching-
2022.
Funny clip we were watching here just before you came in. Someone was asking and saying how we have bad leaders, we have bad governors. But the root of the matter is that it was a comedy skit, and I'm not a comedian, so I can't put it in the same way. So, but the essence of it was, this one always happens straight from the family, basic unit, and the bad choices we make comes from. I mean, the effects is those bad leaders we get. You know, that was the main thing. Like, stop complaining about bad leaders when you make bad choices. You don't go vote for them. You don't whatever you push their agendas like they're the thing and they're not. You know, you don't hold them accountable. You base it on tribe. You base it on. By the time you're choosing your leader, it just reflects of who you are.
Yeah.
Other people.
And by the way, are you aware that Wajir MCAs impeached their
They
governor?
impeached their governor. That's
But I think I saw it in a sarcastic post
Yeah.
that they have impeached their governor, but you will not see this on news headlines because you don't even know who the governor is in the first place.
I swear I
Wow.
don't know the governor of Wajir.
Hi, Wajir people.
What's
Hi.
up? And the other governor that was voted in without even an election because it was unopposed.
Oh, yeah. The senator for...
Yeah.
Congratulations to you, Senator
You know,
Haji.
Haji.
Yeah, I'm told that the leaders of the area somehow managed to convince people who are interested in vying for the position to withdraw their applications, and they succeeded. And you know,
this guy from an
what's
action
democracy?
investigate.
Let me ask you. Yes, he's a good guy, but then he's competent. I think I saw him being interviewed. I think I even follow him on Twitter. He even started his Twitter account was publicized or something.
okay.
And I think he's competent. I think he's good. I just think that, I mean, he should have just gotten that position like his dad did through an election.
So he's
What is the essence?
Unanimous.
What is the essence of having an electoral body? You know, we say Kenya is a democratic country. Democracy is one of our values and principles of governance. Dear elders, what you did was good. Ni sawa too. I mean, again, we can't run away from culture and just the fact that these elders play a crucial role in our communities.
For sure.
But I feel like he should have just vied for the seat, and he should have gone through a competition, and that the people of Wajir should have been given an opportunity to decide through election, so that, you know, I feel like there's some sort of, is it glory? Should glory be the word? Or validation that comes with knowing that you are elected by the people over and above. I went against Timo. Timo is a good candidate, and it was a stiff competition, but the people of this constituency chose me nonetheless. And I think there's some sort of pride that comes with that. But now, anyway, nonetheless, congratulations to you, Senator. I've even forgotten his name,
First
but
name.
I know it's Haji.
Yeah.
It's Haji like the dad. Yeah. All the best to you.
All right. I mean, that's a good place to end it. I think it's been a tough one for us. There's a lot going on, and we can see poor leadership going on with the virus. Finally, they've suspended India flights to India. After 5+ flights have come in, now they've suspended. Season 5 of COVID is coming. Our producer is just telling us that they've
Fifth wave.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
producer is just telling
What
us
about
how
these
they've
flights that
suspended.
are landing from Ukraine? Wow.
See tourism. Sibalala wants to
Anyway.
look like he's working.
No, but he's working. He's working.
Yeah,
See,
so-
Naomi Campbell is our marketer. She's doing a good job, I guess. Yeah.
Yellow tape mnasikia episode yenye mtafanya mi nimebaki. But yeah, I think it's a good place to end the conversation.
Yeah.
It's good to get that update also, because I had just complained about it when we were starting the show.
Yeah, it's been
Flights have
amazing.
been flying in from Mumbai, but now they've been shut down. We just hope that India can be, we see the support that is coming from all countries to help and stop it. We are praying for India. We've seen it even crossing into Nepal. There needs to be a point where we can also check out what's happening in Nepal and help them out.
But the world
yeah.
is actually helping India, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
With
It is.
oxygen, I think
Yeah.
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 Take care of yourself, dear listener. Stay safe. Remember to mask up. Avoid gatherings. Avoid gatherings. This COVID thing is real. Remember, flights have been coming from India, so you do not know.
Yeah.
You never know.
And-
Take care of yourself.
And it's coming with different strains.
Yeah, so by the way, we have ended this thing without talking about Thika Road and how people spent the night on Thika Road. Story for another day, listeners.
Story for another day. 'Cause
Story
I'm-
for
I
another
know
day.
this
But don't
coming.
take care of yourselves.
Guys, let me tell you, if you listen to this episode before the weekend, be careful about this specific weekend. They know it's payday. And so they know the madness that happens. Those roadblocks will be back. Me, I want to go and start a business. I want to be locked in that roadblock and just sell blankets,
Sell snacks.
tea, snacks, open a boombox. Let's just have a block party on the road. You know, Thika Road Highway Bash. Let me just say it on a light note. Ndio nisikujiwe. Cabinet Secretary, you know yourself, I'm not going to say any name. Stop fighting with UK when they lock us down. It's because you're focusing on the wrong people. You should have been controlling flights when they were coming from India once you heard about this thing. And look at around and see what's happening around you. Leaders are not being worthy, and we will hold you accountable. So if you don't ask them to shape up, by the end of it all, it will fall on you. At the end of the day, the back end stop. Like it's you who we will hold you accountable for. You're in charge of health in this country. Stop playing this game of blaming us when you're not doing even anything to stop whatever is coming in. We see you. We see you. Our leaders, I have no words for you. You've shown yourselves. You're showing your true skin and your color. My people, please, my people. I will sing this until election day. Look around and see who you're choosing. Don't sing the tune of national elections so much you forget about who's in your house. Clean up your house before you go cleaning up your estate. I think that's a good way to stop.
It's been amazing.
Yes.
Have a lovely week and weekend, depending on when you listen to us.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, man.